The forest cat quickly recovered after failing to kill its target. It snarled in annoyance, looking at James and then to Mim. "I'll take this thing on. Make sure that this thing doesn't have friends," James quickly said to Mim. Reloading bolts into his crossbows, Mim nodded. "Be careful. That thing is acting desperate for some reason." Even without Mim having mentioned the forest cat's behavior, James had noticed that the monster was far more aggressive than usual. Though the beast might have still attacked the two of them, typically it would have timed it better when their guard was down. It was still a good attack, but would have been better when we were celebrating our kills. James didn't know what was going through the monster's mind, but he did have a flash of the forest wolf that let him know of its presence. Moving slowly towards the monster, James had the two daggers in front to react to any attacks from the thing. The daggers also let the creature know that he was a threat and to be taken seriously. The forest cat would then have to move cautiously instead of acting erratic and unpredictable. Though with its strange behavior, James's preventive measures may only serve to antagonize it. "It looks like the thing was acting alone. I don't see any more of its kind," Mim alerted James. "Glad to hear that," James answered while keeping his eyes on the forest cat. The monster slowly lowered its shoulders. "I won't let you." James rushed towards it when he noticed that the monster was planning on pouncing on him. Widening its eyes, the monster froze for a second. It was as though it didn't expect James to rush it. But its surprise was short-lived. The monster launched itself at James. Despite the monster deciding to react to his attack, James didn't move out of the way. He grunted from the paws with outstretched claws striking his armor. Thankfully, with his momentum, James used one hand to go between the two arms of the thing. He slashed the arm with the other hand, causing it to flinch in pain. The dagger that went between the arms pierced into the eye of the monster. For a moment, gravity didn't seem to have an impact on them. But as soon as the dagger pierced deep into the brain of the monster, a shiver and jerk ran through its body. With no resistance, James went through the monster like a rag doll. Both the monster and James tumbled on the ground. "James!" Mim yelled out, running towards where James eventually stopped. James lay motionless on the ground for a moment. "Hey! James!" Mim slid on the ground, reaching James. Feeling him to be turned over, James groaned in pain. "Remind me not to hit the ground like that while wearing all this armor," he coughed. The air had been knocked out of him, preventing him from answering Mim's concerned calls. Seeing that James was okay, Mim laughed. "Who told you to jump towards a forest cat?" "It worked the last time," James grinned, attempting to not look as though he was in pain. On top of landing hard on the ground, James didn't feel like getting up anytime soon. Despite the armor protecting him from the sharp claws of the forest cat, it only dampened the force of the strike. He took a slow breath in, feeling his body slowly recover. "You're lucky that your body is much more durable. If you tried to do that at a low level, you'd have either been cat food or you'd have knocked yourself out." Mim shook his head, still finding James's predicament to be amusing. The cat person got up after determining that James was physically well, at least enough to head back to camp. "You humans can be crazy sometimes," Mim chuckled as he walked away towards the horned rabbits and rabbits. "At least we got something more than just rabbits," James said as he slowly got up to a sitting position. He removed his helmet, appreciating the cooler air, making his head feel slightly better.